Well, we have a big change of plans. Hello everybody, my name is Tom.
And I'm Dom.
And here we are sitting down and discussing with you guys what exactly is going on.
So, as you guys all know, originally our route for this cross-country road trip was from New York to San Francisco with multiple stops throughout the country. And while we did reach our first stop, we had to make a little bit of an audible, and we changed our plans twice since then.
I was having major anxiety once we reached Cleveland because we did like a 12-hour driving day, and just the thought of driving 5, 6, 8 hours a day for the next 2 weeks really was like making me sick and taking a huge toll on me. So I don't know if you guys remembered, but in our first video, we talked about how we were heading to Chicago the next day. But in fact, if you guys picked up on it, we stayed in Cleveland and explored Cleveland and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was always on our plan to begin with, but we did cut it out and we were just gonna head to Chicago that next day. I just felt it in me that like we weren't gonna have fun. I know for a fact it would have been beautiful. We would have a lot of fun like at the places, but driving the 6 to 8 hours a day for 2 weeks would have been rough. So I felt like we would have just been in the car most of the time instead of enjoying the trip, which is what we wanted to do on this trip.
Right, we didn't want to be like on a time constraint. 'Cause even just from New York to Cleveland, we felt rushed just trying to make a video or do a tour or even just like go to the bathroom. We always were like, we gotta meet the deadline, we gotta get there. And another thing was our van, we weren't used to driving that big of a vehicle, and because it was so big, it kind of added on extra time. So if our route, like our ETA was like 6 hours per se, it was always added on like an extra like hour and a half just because of the slow driving.
Had we not made the decision in Cleveland to stay and then kind of reevaluate the situation, we may have gotten stuck somewhere out west where we can't, make a decision because there's only certain drop-off points with this van. And if we're like in the middle of South Dakota, there's no turning back. We just would have to keep going and just kind of be miserable.
Because it's easy to just say like, oh, we're gonna do a big drive rather than doing it. So after we did it, it's like, wow, like this is really exhausting, especially driving at night. It was just dangerous. We didn't like it at all. So in Cleveland, we just made the decision to start heading another route. That's when we decided to go south.
Getting Dom on board was like the hardest thing ever because you have to realize this. For the past 9 months, we've been planning to head west. We've had dreams of going to Grand Canyon and seeing all the places that we were going to see. I mean, Grand Canyon, Colorado Rockies, the Great Sand Dunes, San Diego, meeting up with one of my childhood friends in Northern Cali, going to San Francisco. To get there the first or second day and just kind of reevaluate the situation and change not doing any of that anymore, I mean, it was probably one of the hardest situations I've ever been put in. We just kind of had a talk near Lake Erie in Cleveland, and we decided to come up with this brand new journey. Enough of that sappy stuff, and let's talk about what we are doing. I'd be lying to you guys right now if I told you we know what we're doing.
We don't.
We really don't. However, our plans are to head south, as you guys are seeing. If you guys follow us on our social medias, you'll see where we're being before YouTube does. We are heading south from Cleveland, and we are going through states like Kentucky, Tennessee. We're going to be hitting cities like Louisville. We're going to be hitting cities like Nashville, Memphis, and our plan is to get down to Louisiana in New Orleans. We're going to be going through Mississippi, and once we get to New Orleans, we are then going to drive to Orlando, Florida, spend some time in Florida, and then fly home because we can drop our van off there. So this plan has changed. This is now Plan C. Our plan B was to go through the Carolinas and go to Outer Banks and drive back to New York. But now we are flying back. We don't know where tomorrow's going to take us, and I think that's what I like now about this trip. My ideas of a road trip around the country entails pulling over at hidden gems and places and towns that you didn't hear about and you wouldn't have known about unless you just drove by it. So for example, in our next video, you'll see we found a little hidden gem on our road where I just pulled over. If we were doing our first trip, we would not have had time for that and we would have felt like we just ruined something big. If we were to ever try this again, it would definitely be a longer time period, like a month, maybe a month and a half, because we want to enjoy these places in these states that we are going to that we've never been before, as well as make content for you guys. Because again, you guys are on this trip with us and we want to bring you along on this trip. And we spend time obviously filming for you guys and, you know, making sure that we're putting out high quality content. If we're going to be just driving for 6 hours a day, the content's going to be tough to make, and on top of it, we're going to be tired and we're not going to be in the best moods. We just wanted to make sure that we could take the time and take you guys along with us.
Yeah, ultimately, just everything we originally had planned just seemed like a challenge. It wasn't really more of like a vacation.
We still work jobs, so this 2 weeks is a vacation for us. So we want to make sure that it is a vacation and we still enjoy it, as well as bring you guys along with us. Our 9 months planning is out the window, and this new trip and this new journey is in, and we are so excited for where we are going to be taking you guys. I hope you guys are on your toes, because we don't even know we don't even know what we're doing. So I know you guys don't know what we're doing. So if you guys are new around here, please hit the subscribe button and like the video down below, and we will see you guys on our next journey, God knows where.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye. We stopped at Grandpa's Jeep Bar. It smells good.
Oh my God, that's so good.
You turn around and there's the Cincinnati Reds Stadium where the game is happening right now against San Francisco.